A pleasant day, everyone. I am Patrick L. Pangniban from BSc 1-3, and today we will discuss the social reality of crime and left realism. The social reality of crime remains an eloquent and important statement on crime, law, and justice. And the left realism, on the other hand, argues that inequality is the main cause of crime and advocate for community intervention to reduce crime. The social reality of crime, starting with the premise that criminality is not determined by the character of the action itself, but rather is a category of human activity that is formed and enforced by authorized political agents through the formation of criminal definitions. The theory of the social reality of crime is based. Crime is a conclusion that some people draw about the traits and action of others. In an effort to influence the behavior of the less powerful segments, Queenie claims that the strong segments spread image of crime and criminal across society. The social reality of crime theory suggests that criminality is a concept enforced by authority figures reinforcing their control and influencing less powerful segments. This narrative perpetuates power imbalances and social inequalities while focusing on individual actions and character traits, hindering efforts to address root causes of crimes. The core concept of social reality of crime. According to the notion of the social reality of crime, the dominant class representatives in a politically structured society form the legal definition of criminal behavior. It means the dominant class, often the economic and political elite, significantly influences legal definition of criminal behavior. This definition reflects the interests and values of those in power positions, shaping the legal system and imposing penalties. This socially constructed definition legitimizes power and authority, but are not objective or reflective of inherent moral wrongs. Critically, examining power dynamics is essential to understand the social and political nature of criminal definition. As a result, actions that go against the interests of the dominant class, which has the authority to transform those interests into public policy, make up definition of crimes. Meaning, in the societies with a dominant class, actions that challenge power, wealth, or stability are often categorized as crime. These definitions are influenced by the class interests and public policy, controlling social behavior and punishing those who challenge them. This highlights the social and political nature of crime and calls for a more equitable society with criminal definition reflecting the well-being and needs of all members. Additionally, according to the theory of the social reality of crime, behavior patterns are organized in relation to definition of crime. In this setting, people engage in behavior that are relatedly likely to be classified as criminals. Meaning, the social reality of crime theory suggests that behavior patterns are influenced by societal definition of crime, influenced by social, cultural, and political factors. This definition vary across societies and communities, and individuals internalize them to adjust their behavior. Social labeling and stigmatization can also influence behavior patterns, with some individuals challenging or contesting prevailing definitions. Next is the development of behavior patterns in connection to these definitions, the application of definition of crime, and the creation of an ideology of crime all work together to create the social reality of crime. The social reality of crime is constructed through behavior patterns, definition, and an ideology of crime. These elements are influenced by power dynamics, biases, and societal norms shaping society perception and response to criminal behavior. The ideology of crime perpetuates divisions and inequalities affecting social control, justice system, and individual experience. Real life situation of social reality of crime. It's sad to say, in the Philippines, the law against robbery and theft are intended for the poor only because it protects the property of those in financial power or those who are wealthy. The Philippines faces criticism for its laws against robbery and theft, disproportionately affecting the poor while protecting wealthier individuals. Factors include differential enforcement, criminalization of survival strategies, and legal disparity. Who is Richard Queenie? Richard Queenie is a sociologist in 1970 embraced a conflict model of crime who integrated his beliefs about power, society, and criminality into a theory he referred to as the social reality of crime. According to him, criminal definition or the law represent the interests of those who hold power in society. Richard Queenie's theory of crime argues that criminal definitions and law are socially constructed and subject to manipulation by the dominant class. This theory highlights the criminal justice system roles in maintaining social control and suppressing dissent, highlighting the unequal distribution of power and perpetuating social inequalities. Now, we will discuss the development of left realism theory and its proponent. Jack Young, John Lea, and Roger Matthews developed left realism in response to the rising influence of right realism. In addition, left realism developed in opposition to left idealism, which praised the criminal as a primitive revolutionary. According to radical ideology, left realists said that left idealism glorified the predatory offender who instilled such real terror in the comparatively underprivileged people of many urban locations. Left realists, in contrast, emphasize the existence and severity of destructive street crime which is brought on by improvised working class neighbors against members of their own class. Meaning, left realism emerged as a response to right realism in criminology, emphasizing crime control and tougher law enforcement. It focuses on material conditions, relative deprivations, and practical solutions to bridge the gap between radical left idealism and right realism, addressing social and structural causes of crime. Left realists criticize left idealism for glorifying criminals and overlooking the impact of crime on underprivileged communities. They emphasize the fear and terror caused by criminal behavior and advocated for practical solutions like crime prevention, community involvement, and social intervention. What is the concept of left realism theory? Left realism is just one political ideology that focuses on the causes of crime and deviance. Left realists believe that living in a capitalistic society, as in a society where private entities control trade and industry instead of the state, is the main cause for crime. In capitalistic society, there is cultural inclusion, meaning that everyone who lives within this society can pursue the ideals and concepts under capitalism. Left realism is a critical perspective on a capitalist societies, argues private entities control trade and industry, increasing social and economic inequalities leading to criminal behavior. However, alternative viewpoints like right realism and critical criminology offer different explanations for crime. Left realism theory is most connected to the writing of British scholars John Lea and Jack Young, 1942 to 2013. In their 1984 work, What is to be Done About Law and Order, by taking a more realistic approach, saying that street criminals prey on the poor, doubly abused, first by the capitalist system and then by the members of their own class. Left Realism Theory by John Lea and Jack Young examines street criminals and marginalized poor in capitalist societies. They argue that the capitalist system creates inequalities, limited opportunities, and resources, leading to criminal behavior. They advocate for a balanced approach involving law enforcement, community involvement, social intervention, and addressing root causes of crime. Their equation is very simple. Relative deprivation equals discontent. Discontent plus lack of political solution equals crime. Yang and Leia argued that crime victims in all classes need and deserve protection. So clearly, crime happens when a person is being deprived economically plus the governing body in the community, like barangay chairman, do not know how to render solution to problems like rampant stealing and in his barangay. If the thief succeeds in his first stealing, then there is a big possibility that he'll keep repeating his criminal conduct. Young, Young and Leia's equation explains that relative deprivation leads to discontent, which in turn, combined with the lack of political solution, leads to crime. Ineffective governance and economic inequalities can fuel disillusionment, causing individuals to engage in criminal behavior. Understanding these factors can help address crime prevention and intervention, creating a more inclusively and just society. Now, we will proceed to the advantage and disadvantage of left realism. The advantage of left realism succeeded in drawing attention to the reality of street crimes and its effect. See crimes as a real problem and aim to find the roots of the problem. The disadvantage of left realism, the interactionists argue that because left realism rely on a quantitative data, they cannot explain offenders' motives. Real meanings need to be revealed with qualitative data. It focused on high crime inner city areas, give an representative view, and make crime appears as thought it is a greater problem than actually is. That is all about my presentation. I hope you learn about social reality of crimes and left realism. Thank you for listening.